I don't quite know what I'm going to say, but I was really touched by the last couple of things that you've been talking about. And something I've been thinking about a lot lately, or actually feeling a lot about, is how to practice or stay true to the values of open-heartedness and integrity and authenticity in environments that are afraid of that. And I feel like a dinosaur a lot because coming here as a kid, well, not a kid, someone in my 20s, in the 60s, there was just a natural fit with being a hippie in the 60s in Sonoma County in a humanistic psych program and being a lefty since birth. It was all kind of like a really magical and just a stupendous experience. But it's a different world now, and I find it really challenging to continue to come from what I value and know in my bones, and how to stay curious when I meet fear and judgment about that, rather than getting judgmental. I find that a daily practice in my life. And that image of where either I often feel like I'm witnessing a wake of the death of something that has been central and precious in my life. But I like that we could also be, the phoenix. But things are definitely different in my experience.
Could you? I don't mean this to sound challenging. But how is that so? How are they different? The reason, speaking out of my own experience at that time, is I was surrounded by fear and judgment. I was here too.
Well, I remember, yes, and there was some. I guess it just feels like the ratio shifted.
So it's more powerful. Judgment about your core values seems more powerful.
It does. Yeah. So things like is being a transparent person professional or unprofessional? It feels like there's. I think you're right now that you're reminding me. David always tells me I have this idea of a golden age, not the state and I forget that it's been a dance forever between fear and openness, I guess.
Well,
I just think the valence is shifting.
Your point may be very well taken, so I didn't want to quarrel with it,
That's okay,
but I can remember while you hippies I was a member of administration during that era, and I didn't wear my glasses all the time. And once I looked out on the green, and people were dancing naked to the waist.
Yes, they were.
And I prayed that they were men. And I tried my best to discern. And then I prayed for them. But I was surrounded, I assure you, during those years, I was surrounded by powerful forces of judgment and negativity.
Oh,
Thank you.
One question I have is, my impression is she was a member of the student body, which was being embraced by this basket, being held by you all. And you all were having to create the basket and deal with the forces around you that might want that basket to be different.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing now is now she's one of the holders of the basket, and how can those people, continue to do that? What is some wisdom that can help them if there's forces wanting that basket to be a completely different shape, size?
Not there.
And the students may feel secure in that basket still, because it's being held by mature adult, professors who are here. But what wisdom can help that basket maintain its integrity? That's my thought.
Good question.
I guess sort of scamp from my generation, because I can't say anything about the 60s. But I feel like today, I feel like our culture has definitely changed since the 60s, and it is a different feel. And it's kind of growing up in American culture. I still don't know what to make of it, but I'm sort of coming to terms with it now, and I'm 20, so it's been going on for a little while. It's really interesting, and I do feel like in today's day and age, there is probably maybe more fear than there's ever been before, and I think that comes with the changing way of life, and I think it has a lot to do with the pace of life and where the human race is headed as a whole in terms of environmental issues, political issues, economic issues, and I do think we are at kind of like a critical crux in our existence, and that's why I'm really glad we're having this meeting, because it makes me feel better that people are out here, discussing it and hopefully, getting ready to do something about it. So, yeah.
What comes up for me, which makes me giggle, is I'm also a part-timer at the junior college. And I have this class in which, again, we have just way too much fun. And the students just come out of there bouncing off the ceilings. And I've had some colleagues ask me, what are you doing in there? One even asked me, are there drugs involved? No, absolutely not. But what I am doing is rigorously adhering to an approach to learning that invites me to ask myself what makes me come alive, and where do I see myself and what I'm being asked to learn. And once that connection is made, then the temperature in the room can rise, the students come alive, and your colleagues get to ask you with the hairy eyeball.
Oh, I've seen a lot of that lately, the hairy eyeball.
What are you doing? I'm just being myself.
That kind of brings back to what Sandy was saying, how we're all evolving, and actually I do need to say that's the first one, mutant, and I've liked it. Thank you. Well, no, but in the group of people that I work with at TA, it really hasn't been what I'm supposed to be learning, because it sounds like what Wayne was saying. What are you? Because the judgment outside, and like Mac was saying, I feel that nothing has changed. If you ask me, that we're all still living in a state of fear of whether it's rejection or being judged or whatnot. But within this person-centered learning, I've actually learned to not really care about what judgments others might make, which leads me to not judge myself, which leads me not to judge the other people around me, especially those that don't wear shoes, which I love you for, man. But it creates a whole. It's more an environment of community, really, that's created, and I've noticed with the groups where. The groups that I've helped facilitate within the class, I've always started off saying, look, I'm not going to ask you to do anything except whatever it is that you want to do to show, what you're learning in class, what the class means to you. And every single semester, it's been uncanny. I think I should go buy a lottery ticket because I've been perfectly lucky on my groups. And so it just feels like what we're learning how to do is not so much affect the fear and the judgment outside of ourselves. We're affecting it within ourselves, which then projects it outwards. Because if you have a pot with a piece of dry ice in it, it's going to have an aura of cold around it. But if you put hot water in, it's got warmth. And it seems to me that in here, like Wayne was saying, we have warmth. The temperature comes up, people come alive, and we're all allowed to be very much passionate about our own, what we're passionate about, without any sort of fear of anything.